On my dad's side of the family, Grandpa's father's name was, oh man, it slips my mind at the moment.
Alva.
Alva Butler, yes. And he had a large family. He founded a town near Salt Lake City. It was one of the canyons coming down from the mountains, and they set up a sawmill there because there was a stream running through it, and that became the family business. But unfortunately for Grandpa, he was one of the younger sons, and there wasn't enough of the business to support all of great grandpa Alva's family. So Grandpa packed up his wife, and at that point they had one child. He rented a railroad car, loaded up a team of horses and all the furniture and all the possessions that they had, and his wife and two children, and they rode that railroad car up to southern Alberta. And Grandpa got a job building irrigation canals.
Now, was it around the turn of the century?
That was in about 1898. He arrived. My father was born in 1902 in the town of Sterling, which was then a very, very tiny hamlet. But Grandpa had worked steadily for about 3 or 4 years, working on the canal, and then he homesteaded near Claresholm and moved his family up there. Eventually they had 8 children, most of whom were farmers in southern Alberta. It was a real clan, and I remember I used to love the family reunions that we had. At least once every year they would have a family reunion, and I had probably, at that point, I had about 40 cousins, and I liked them all, and we used to really have a wonderful time getting together. Grandpa was a very loving kind of man. I remember he built me, used to build things for me, make things for me. For example, he built a stick horse that had wheels on the back, on the bottom, and a horse's head. He put a little mane on it and some reins. And he also made me a crossbow. My mother was very mad at him for that. It was quite a good little crossbow. It wasn't going to kill anybody or anything, but it would shoot an arrow about 50 feet or so. And it had a trigger, and I would load that up, and then he made a couple of arrows for me. And Grandpa used to sit me on his knee, and he would sing.
This is George Washington Butler.
George Washington Butler. He would sing funny songs, and he had false teeth, and often his teeth would pop out when he was singing. And I was fascinated by that. And I remember one of the songs he used to love to sing was, "Oh, the little pig likes to roll in the mud, she'll go dead." And his teeth would invariably come out at that point.
That sounds like
He'd grab them and put them back in.
It sounds like a Polydent commercial there. Look.
He also had memorized a lot of poems, which he liked to recite. Something that kind of rubbed off on me. I guess I've learned a lot of poems in my life that I remember, and that occasionally I bore people to death by reciting. But hey, I've got to do something with all that wonderful knowledge. Anyway, Grandma was a very aristocratic kind of person, even though she spent most of her life on this farm in an old house that Grandpa built with no running water. She loved chickens.
And Ella McCoy? No, Ella. What was her name?
Ella Boyce.
Ella Boyce.
Yeah, she was a Boyce. Boyces had been. That's an anglicization of a French name, by the way, Dubois, and we've been able to trace our ancestry through that family back to William the Conqueror. Grandma, she loved music, and my dad happened to be one of the few members of few of her children who was really talented musically. He played the piano by ear quite well. He played in a little band, and he had a wonderful tenor voice. In fact, he and my mother met at a music festival in Barnwell, where Dad won the provincial championship in his vocal class, and Mom had a good voice as well, and as a result, our family, there were 6 of us children. We had music, a lot of music. We all took piano lessons. When we traveled anywhere in the car, we would sing our hearts out.